I'm here at New Smyrna Beach looking out at the water again, and I've made a number of videos in the past, and obviously that water is flat. But I want to talk about something really important from a biblical perspective, and that comes from the book of Joshua, chapter 10. You can read the whole chapter, but verses 12 through 14 are really important, and anybody that doesn't know about that, that's when Joshua went out to battle. And I'm going to look now and show you, okay? There's the sun, and there's the moon over there. The sun and the moon. So, just imagine, if the Earth is a globe, and we're spinning at 1,000 miles an hour, and then we're also going around the sun at 66,600 miles an hour. Go figure, all the numbers they want to come up with, they come up with that. And then in addition to that, the entire galaxy, what they say, is moving. So if Joshua spoke to the sun and said, and he commanded the sun to not move, and he commanded the moon to not move, what would have happened? What would have happened? I'm here at the beach, okay? If it moved the way they want to talk about it moving, there would have been absolute, complete, utter destruction all over the world. But that's not what happened, because the Earth doesn't move. We are stationary. We are a flat plane. The sun and the moon and everything above us is part of the firmament, and it moves around us, except for Polaris. You can do research on Polaris. It's the only star that they see that doesn't move. And so when Joshua spoke to the sun and the moon, he didn't speak to the earth. He spoke to the sun and the moon and commanded them to stop moving. And God ordained his call to do that, and they stopped moving so that he could win the battle. And they stopped. And nothing happened on the earth because the earth doesn't move. I'll show you a few more things here in this clip. Here's the passage in the King James Bible that I have. The sun stands still. Then spake Joshua to the Lord in the day when the Lord delivered up the Amorites before the children of Israel. And he said in the sight of Israel, Sun, stand thou still upon Gibeon, and thou moon in the valley of Ajalon. And the sun stood still, and the moon stayed, until the people had avenged themselves upon their enemies. Is not this written in the book of Jasher? So the sun stood still in the midst of heaven, and hasted not to go down about a whole day. I also have Habakkuk 3:11 here. There's Habakkuk, okay, chapter 3, verse 11. The sun and moon stood still in their habitation at the light of thine arrows. They went out, and at the shining of thy glittering spear. It also says that it came from the book of Jasher. So here's Jasher, and I found that in Jasher, and it's actually pretty interesting. So here you go. The sun and moon stood still in heaven, and thou didst stand in thy wrath against our oppressors, and didst command thy judgments over them. So here's the big thing. The sun and the moon stood still in heaven. The sun and the moon stood still. It didn't say the earth stood still. So that right there blows out everything that anybody wants to think. The earth is not some globe that's spinning around the way they're trying to tell us. The earth does not move. This is a huge story. Every single pastor and preacher in the country and around the world should be talking about this, but sadly they won't, because the vast majority of people are going to think this is all crazy.
I said, you know who else thought there was a dome? Oh, just Encyclopedia Britannica. Right up until 1958, the year before the Antarctic Treaty was signed in Antarctica. And let's see what it says. These flights proved the inland to be featureless in character, with a dome at 13,000 feet. A dome at 80 south latitude. I wonder why they won't let you go south of the 60th parallel.
I would highly encourage you to get this book, because this whole debate is completely blown out of the water with the book of Enoch. It's probably why they didn't put it in the Bible, because they want to tell you that it's not real, and that somehow it's going to contradict the scriptures, but it's not. In fact, there's so much here, but I'm going to start out on page 79, actually 78. Big thing here. And the sun has therewith traversed the divisions of his orbit, and turns again on those divisions of his orbit. and enters that portal 30 mornings and sets also in the west, opposite to it. So what is that telling you right there? The sun is what's moving, not the earth. That's why Joshua can speak to the sun to make it stop moving. It can speak to the moon and make it stop moving. Here's another one here. So on page 79, the great luminary, which is named the sun forever and ever, and that which thus rises is the great luminary, and is so named according to its appearance, according to the Lord, as the Lord commanded. As he rises, so he sets and decreases not, and rests not, but runs day and night, and its light is sevenfold brighter than that of the moon. And here's an important point, but as regards size, they are both equal. The sun and the moon are the same size, so the lies of NASA that, oh, the sun is 93 million miles away is totally pathetic. Now I can go to page 82, and it tells you here the earth doesn't move. There are portals around it for the luminaries, which is the sun and the moon and the stars. It tells you right here. I'm not going to read all of it, but here you go. It says that they should rule on the face of the heaven and be seen on the earth and be leaders of the day and night, i.e. the sun, moon, and stars, and all the ministering creatures which make their revolution in all the chariots of the heaven. They make their revolution. That supports the dome, that supports the firmament, and that supports that they're all circling around us and moving, and the earth doesn't move. That's right there in the book of Enoch. I can't believe that this is totally ignored by so many people. And then here's more. You can go to page 86. There's a lot there too. I'm not going to read it all, but I just wanted to show you the book of Enoch absolutely 100% validates that the sun and moon are the same size and that they move around the earth. So when Joshua spoke to the sun and the moon not to move, he actually made the firmament stop moving above us. It would have been catastrophic if the earth stopped moving.